What up everybody, Singh here with another video, and in this video we're going to talk about just how godly Sagat's Super R2 is in Street Fighter 6. And now I'm not going to sugarcoat it, our boy Sagat needs a little bit of help, but where he doesn't need help is in the super department. And his Super R2 is one of the best supers in the game, and tons of pro players are using it, and I'm going to show you some examples in this video of how they're doing that. Alright, the first example, one of the most important ones, gotta give credit to Blaz, the Chilean beast, for coming up with this tech. He uses Super R2 more than any other Sagat out there, and I remember seeing Discord comments of people wanting to know why he uses Super R2 so much. The reason is, he's using a technique I like to coin, the Blaz Battery. And the purpose of that Blaz Battery is to do exactly what it sounds like, using that battery to recharge your drive bar. Alright, so there's no secret in this game, when Sagat is burnt out, he is one of the worst characters in the game. He needs to make sure he has drive bar resources available at all times. Alright, first thing I want you to do is look at Sagat's drive bar. It's almost completely depleted. Look at my drive bar I get back at the end of this sequence. As you can see, I nearly built my entire drive bar back off of one punish counter combo. So this is what you need to know about this sequence to make sure you're building back as much drive bar as possible. So essentially the only thing you need to remember about this technique to make it work is you need to avoid drive rush combos that freeze your drive bar. As you can see, I have 3 bars at the top, but this drive rush combo is not building me anything. You want to work on hit confirms or things like that that will allow you to go into combos like this, where your drive bar is still building and you're able to hit a Super 2 off. Even if you're far from the corner and you know you can't get that forward launcher off after the Super R2, you can still do tons of drive bar recovery over here by doing the down version over here where you elbow them to the ground. As you can see, nearly 4 bars back, and you're gonna have O key pressure in their face if you want to walk forward. It's a really good battery building tool. And now I'll just show you some of the most applicable ways you can do the Super R2. Bookmark this section if you need to come back to it. But these are the most consistent ways to get this battery to recharge. So first is anything that goes into the heavy hit of Nexus into the forward roundhouse will be a easy conversion into that Super R2, as you can see on screen right now. So if I set my opponent to always punish counter, emulating that they missed a fireball or a DP, you can do a crouch fierce into heavy Nexus. This variation is going to work very easily. You can do forward roundhouse into the low target combo. This will also work extremely easy to go into level 2. If you have some bar to work with, and a lot of us like to do crouch heavy punch into OD Nexus, like we like to buffer it like that. As you can see, even after using this bar, because it's not a drive rush combo, you're still going to be building bar here, and this combo was essentially free for me to use. As you can see, I built my bar back. So this is a very good thing to know when it comes to this technique. And now for the rest of the section, I'm just going to show you some of the most common uses where I found this super to be helpful. Pause it, slow it down, use it as a tool if you need. The next reason this super is so godlike, it is one of the best defensive supers in the game. And I'm not talking about right off the bat that you can send them in whichever direction you want. That's all fine and dandy. But the real reason this move shines is it's actually its input. That's because in this game, super inputs that require quarter circle backwards are very powerful because you're able to walk backwards, block, and still buffer the super. So if you see anything, you can quickly launch a super on a surprise attack. And to add to that, the range is absolutely nuts on this super. The way I use it to gauge is, if Sagat's head is within your first drive bar of green bar, and your opponent is in that same range or just slightly out, I know no matter what, just based on this timing, that this super is going to reach. And if they're doing something like a move or a fireball, they're actually going to have an extended hurt box, and you can hit them from even further away. But use that as a judge for distance. So the first defensive option is when Sagat is burnt out. I mentioned earlier he's one of the worst characters when he's burnt out. But in the corner, if he has level 2, you can actually be buffering your super at all times while still being able to block. And if you see that they're going to do a drive impact, you know right away that you have the reactions to do this because you're buffering backwards. Think of it like Ken's level 1, which requires a backwards motion as well. That's why Ken is so annoying in the corner. The other defensive option, it is hands down one of the best anti-fireball supers in the game. Even when you do something like a recover backwards, if you're in distance, this move is just going to blow by everything, and it comes up very fast at 10 frames. Up next, let's look at Guile, for example. In my opinion, this is one of Sagat's tougher matchups because it's hard to deal with Guile's zoning game in this, especially with Sagat's fireballs not being as strong. But in this distances, you can get them with level 2 from like distances that you would not expect. That's because one, it reaches extremely far, it's very fast, and your opponent will have an extended hitbox or hurtbox, sorry, on their fireballs when they do that extension. So you want to go to training mode and practice this. You have a lot more time than you think. And Guile's an extreme example because his fireballs recover extremely quick. But if you're against someone like Akuma or Ryu, like a normal Shoto, you're going to blow by these fireballs no problem, as long as you work on your reactions. And then the final reason why Sagat Super is so good is that it's one of the best anti-air supers in the game. So Sagat has traditional DPs, but they don't have the best range. As you can see, his light punch DP often whiffs. His medium punch DP, you really have to have your timing because it is a 10 frame DP. And if they empty jump you, much like Ed, you're going to be in for a bad time. So because this super lets you buffer backwards while walking backwards, you can actually clip people out of the air from insane distances because it comes out so fast and it covers such a wide distance. So you always want to be on the lookout for this. If your opponent thinks that they're going to be able to clip you from far away or you bait them with a fireball, this should be in your back pocket at all times. And it works just as well in opponents that like to jump back in the corner. A lot of opponents want to avoid the DI like that, but if you have the read, even from distances like this, you can get off that super. That's the video. I hope you found it helpful, and honestly, I think the more you use your super 2s, the more games you're going to win. Not only because of its utility, but you're going to be using your supers more often and not just trying to hoard that level 3 Hail Mary. So use your super 2 and let me know how it's working out for you. Peace out, everyone. Tons of more content to come out soon.